Continuing now on Newsmax Prime, just one note, since this is a live telecast, we had hoped to have Philip Haney, the author of the new book, See Something, Say Nothing. We apologize, we were unable to line that up. We'll try to reschedule it in the not-too-distant future. Now, as we mentioned at the outset of the program, Donald Trump has been closing the gap on Hillary Clinton, but a problem area for both candidates is likability. Take a look at the numbers from the latest NBC News SurveyMonkey poll. Nearly 60% of those polled say they really don't like Hillary Clinton. 63% say they dislike Donald Trump. Something we'd absolutely like for you to do is join our conversation at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. And we are picking up that conversation now by going out to Southern California via Skype with political commentator Michael Reagan. Michael is the author of the best-selling book, Lessons My Father Taught Me: The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. It is a #1 Amazon bestseller and reveals, for the first time, some of Ronald Reagan's secrets. It's also been featured in the Wall Street Journal. And Michael Reagan is featured on Twitter. His handle is at Twitter World. Michael, at Reagan World. Gee, so many things to keep up with live tonight, Michael. So you're Michael Reagan at Reagan World on Twitter. Now, got that settled. We have got phone calls coming in. And why don't we go ahead and take one right now at 1-877-NEWSMAX to Memphis, Tennessee for Sandy. Sandy, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
I am 100% for Trump. The day he announced, I was on his train, and I say that Donald Trump will be a two-term president, and if he doesn't, but some chance to get elected, America is screwed. Nobody else in this world can do what the Clintons have done and all the rest of those politicians up there in Washington, D.C. has done, and we'd be in prison. And I think they ought to throw them all in the slammer.
All right, Sandy. We appreciate your thoughts on that. And there's something, going back to the poll numbers we saw, Michael Reagan, there is a problem with likability for both Hillary and the Donald. But there's also the notion of intensity. And you hear the intensity of callers like Sandy. That's not something that can be easily dismissed, can it?
No, it really can't be. I mean, Donald Trump said himself, he'd go out on Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and his followers are going to follow him all the way, if you will. I was thinking about those numbers when you were reading them right there at the beginning of the show, and I said to myself, and I've been telling people this too, and I might have used it on the show before. I said, it sounds like people have electile dysfunction.
Okay. Well, how do you remedy that, Michael?
So you remedy that because they've got to change the numbers drastically, because young people, and others vote for people they like and relate to, and that's who's going to win the election. I'll tell you right now who's going to win the election. The person most relatable and most likable is going to win this election in November, and both of them have a lot of work to do. In order to get that, Donald Trump has to work with the woman issue, the Hispanic issue, a lot of issues. Hillary Clinton has to work there on her issues of trust. And if they can get those numbers down of the unlikability, then they're going to have a better chance to win in November.
Well, let me ask you, in the case of one voter by the name of Michael Reagan, you have criticized Donald Trump, made that very clear, but are you reconsidering what you might do in November?
Well, I think it's up to him to win my vote. I mean, I'm not a forever Hillary. I'm not a never Trump. But I want somebody to earn the vote. And I want somebody to tell me what they're going to actually do. I want to see the players and what they're going to do, what they plan to accomplish without all these big things. You're not going to build that big of a wall. You're not going to kick 11.5 million people out of here. You're not going to stop the Muslims from coming to the United States of America. So let's get down to what you can do.
Well, why can't you put a moratorium, whether it's Muslims? It's existing law, Michael. Now, I think we ought to be broadened out and just say, wait a minute, time out. There's a moratorium on immigration. Why readily dismiss the notion that you can do that?
Make it on immigration. Don't make it on one group in immigration. Then make it on immigration.
All right, fair enough. Hey, I tell you,
instead of just let's pick out a group, because okay, we're mad at Muslims this week. Who we're going to be mad at next week? And I just don't think the Republican Party wants to be the party of picking and choosing who the good guys and the bad guys are when it comes to coming, like let's kick Muslims out. What about Hispanics? Are they all illegal? Are they somewhat illegal? What are they? What's going to happen is with all this stuff going on, JD, it's going to come down to what it's going to come down to each and every year. It's the economy, stupid.
all right, and the economy is very important, and so are the attitudes of voters. And back to the phones we go to Janesville, Ohio. Sue is on the line. And Sue, I guess Trump is your number one pick, but you have some thoughts about the number two spot, correct?
Well, here, Michael Reagan is always pushing John Kasich for the number two spot. And I've lived in Ohio all my life, and John Kasich is for Common Core. He's an immigration man. He's for same-sex marriage. He's for NAFTA. He raises taxes. He's for gun control, which he was several years ago. I don't know if he's still that, but I would say he is if he was then. He brought Obama's health care into Ohio, and he's an APA man. I could go on. I do not want John Kasich.
All right, and you're an Ohioan.
Kasich.
You say no to Kasich. Sue, who do you like? Very quickly, one name.
Coming from with Kasich. Yeah, I say absolutely no to Kasich.
All right. We got that loudly and clearly, and we do appreciate the call, Sue. So there's an Ohioan saying no to Kasich.
But the reality of it is, Ohio's needed. The Republicans need to win Ohio to win the election, and vice presidents don't make laws at all. They go to funerals and they have lunch with the president of the United States once a week. Is basically what vice presidents of the United States do. They don't make legislation. They just do what the president tells them to do. They don't do anything else other than that. If the president says gun control, he says gun control. He says no gun control, it's no gun control. They do, and they serve at the behest of the president of the United States of America.
Michael, you referenced earlier the notion of reaching out, trying to build a team, how it's important for Donald Trump to do that with you and with many other Republicans who may have some questions. We understand that Mr. Trump is set to meet with evangelical leaders. In fact, we first started talking about this yesterday. Bob Vanderplatz of the Family Leader in Iowa talked about that gathering. Let's look and listen.
Obviously, there's some current concerns about Mr. Trump. There's some valid questions about his candidacy and what he'll be as a president. And there's a lot of evangelical leaders who want to get that cleared up before they either endorse him, support him, vote for him, or what they do moving forward.
It's interesting. As I sit there and listen to Bob, Michael Reagan, I think about your dad challenging Jimmy Carter in 1976. Jimmy Carter, who still to this day teaches Sunday school at the Southern Baptist Church. Yet your dad was able to win over so many evangelicals. Is it possible Donald Trump could reach out to that key constituency and make that work?
Oh, it's all possible. It takes meetings. It takes consistency, and I don't think Donald Trump is consistent on a whole lot of issues. He does change on a regular basis depending on who he's talking to, but you got to be consistent with the evangelicals if you want them to be, in fact, consistent with you. But what I'd be working on if I'm Donald Trump, I'd be working on the Ted Cruz people, say, how can I get the Cruz people on board? How can I get the Bush people on board? How can I get the Marco Rubio people on board? How can I get all the people on board that I might have offended during the whole primary caucus situation, because I'm going to need all of their voters on board in order to win in November. And I don't see any of that going on right now. I don't see Ted Cruz endorsing, him at this point and what have you. So what is he doing to reach out to those who he vanquished?
Yeah, and one other housekeeping note on the upcoming convention. We understand the aforementioned John Kasich has requested that all the Ohio delegates remain committed to Governor Kasich. We got about a minute left. Time for a phone call from Taylor, Michigan. Trigger is on the line. Trigger, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Hey, JD, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, pal. You got 30 seconds. Make them count.
Okay. You put me on the spot. Hey, Trump.
Yep, Trigger. Do we still have you? Oh, I think he's just saying, yay, Trump. Short, sweet, hard to beat. He is for the Donald, and it's just more of that intensity. But you know, the other interesting thing, Michael, I don't know if you saw the numbers, but apparently, based on some polling, millennials are moving in the direction of the Donald. 20 seconds. Does that surprise you?
It does surprise me to a point, but he's going to need all the votes you can get. You know, you can't just go after the Reagans, the Reagan group, because they're like 60 years old and above. You've got a whole group of millennials who weren't even born or were just born when Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. So you're going to have to find a way for the inroads into there. If you might remember, JD.
I know, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but unfortunately time is in our way. But Michael, we're going to ask you to stay right where you are. We're going to pick up this conversation. You stay with us too. We're coming back.